When this whole coronavirus mess started back in March, we all partied on the couch, ordered pizza and watched Netflix for a month, right? But then we realized that this is going to be a lot longer than a month. And so the question and the choice really is, can you come out of this crisis on the other side with some new skills, in a better physical and mental shape, and with finances that are in a better shape than they were when you entered the crisis back in March? So today, I want to tell you about the 5 ninja survival tips for your credit cards and how you can use them in a smart way to come out of this in a better state. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Martin Zeman. This channel is for anybody that wants to improve their personal finances and investing. So make sure you hit that subscribe button below to get notified of the future videos. Alright, let's dive right in. Tip number 1 is choose the appropriate card that fits your lifestyle right now. And the lifestyle that we all have right now is basically being stuck at home, buying groceries, cooking or ordering takeouts and shopping online, right? The credit cards that used to reward us for the type of lifestyle that included traveling, collecting air miles, hotel points and getting that free check bag at the airport, and typically cars that you would pay annual fees for, they're completely worthless right now. You might as well cancel them, wait a year and get them again with that introductory bonus a year from now when the coronavirus is hopefully resolved. But the type of lifestyle we all have right now is buying groceries and shopping online mostly, right? So there are credit cards that give you 5 or 6% cash back on anything you spend at US supermarkets, or give you 5% for anything you spend online at Amazon and Whole Foods. I'm going to leave a link up here and also below the video for a video I just posted a few days ago detailing the best cashback cards that reward you for shopping for your groceries. So make sure that you have the type of credit card that fits your lifestyle. Alright, tip number 2 is my favorite strategy when it comes to playing with the rules of credit cards, and that's using a credit card as a 0% interest-free loan. There's a number of credit cards right now that give you more than a year and a half of 0% APR. So that's effectively a free loan that you can get. In fact, let me tell you about a couple of those. The US Bank Visa Platinum card gives you an introductory 0% APR for 20 billing cycles. So that's more than a year and a half. There is no annual fee here, and let's assume that you have $4,000 to put on a credit card for medical bills or an urgent car repair. You can consider that as a free loan, because if you put that $4,000 on this credit card and then each month you will pay $200 towards that balance, in those 20 billing cycles you will have paid that off without having to pay any interest whatsoever. Now the second card that I want to mention is the Citi Double Cash card, which also gives you a 0% APR for 18 billing cycles. So 2 months shorter, but the advantage here is that they give you a 2% cashback. So if you put that same $4,000 on this card, you will get $80 back in cashback. Now they also both offer you the ability to transfer a balance. In the example that maybe you have a credit card where you're carrying a balance and you're paying that high APR on that balance, you can transfer that balance onto this card, and for the next year and a half or those 20 billing cycles, you don't have to pay any interest. So that's a very elegant way to also save a lot of money in these high interest charges that credit cards, that lenders charge you for any balances you carry on whatever credit card you may have an outstanding balance on. Tip number 3 is make sure that you earn your welcome bonus. A lot of lenders reward you for opening a new credit line by paying you hundreds of dollars sometimes for that extra credit line that you open with them and for that credit card that you're going to use. So make sure that you plan carefully. If the conditions require you to spend a certain amount, whether it's $1,000 in the first 3 months or $4,000 in the first 3 months, if you know that you're going to have some kind of a larger expense that's coming up, or if you simply spend that much money anyway in the first 3 months, make sure that you do earn that welcome bonus and that you know exactly when that cutoff date is happening, because you don't want to be getting a new credit line and getting a new credit card without utilizing all the rewards and the perks that the credit card companies offer. Okay, tip number 4 is super important. You need to understand how lenders evaluate you as a borrower. You need to understand the rules of the game, and that's understanding your credit score. Knowing exactly what influences your credit score, what makes it go up and go down. Now, your credit score normally moves up and down depending on how you spend, whether you spend more this month than the last month, and how you're repaying your bills. And that's just a few points up and down. If you open a new credit line, that usually is, let's say, 5 points down in terms of how your credit score moves. But looking at this chart here really shows you the factors that lenders use to evaluate you as a borrower. And looking to the right here, you see that 35%, the biggest influencer here is your payment history. And that's really showing, do you have any missed payments? Do you always pay on time? Do you always pay your bill in full, or do you carry a balance? So your payment history is a huge deal, and you don't want to start screwing that up. Now, the second item here, the 30% of how much your credit score is influenced, is the amount that you owe. Now, it's not just the amount on one credit card, although that's very important. You never want to owe more than 30% on each individual credit card. Once you start owing more than 30%, and especially if you go over that 50% magic number, that tells the lenders that you are using too much of your credit limit and that you might be in a difficult position. So that works against you on that credit score. So try to always stay within that 30% of the available limit. Let's say your limit is $10,000 on a specific credit card. You never want to spend more than $3,000 and carry that balance for, especially carrying that balance for more than one billing cycle. But it also works as an aggregate. If you look at the total amount of credit that's available to you, adding all the credit cards, all the credit loans that you may have, as a total amount, you never want to go higher than 30%. You always want to stay within that low number, which essentially tells the lenders, hey, I have so much credit limit available, but I don't really need it. And that's the problem in this industry. It's when you don't need the loans and the credit that credit card companies come to you and offer better conditions. And right now, during the coronavirus, unfortunately, they are tightening their standards because they expect there's going to be a lot of defaults. If you look at some of the results that the bank companies announced, they already are putting aside a lot of money to fund those upcoming defaults in whether it's credit cards, whether it's auto loans, whether it's mortgages. So tip number 4, super important, understand what is influencing how you are evaluated as a consumer, and play the odds in your favor. And finally, rule number 5 is understand the rules of the road. You have to understand exactly what's happening when you're playing this game with credit cards and with the lenders and trying to stack the odds in your favor. The biggest deal, the absolute biggest deal, is don't carry a balance on a high APR. It's just not, it just doesn't make any sense. As an example, if you are paying a 20% APR on a balance that's outstanding on your credit card, you will double that amount in 3.5 years. I mean, that's just throwing money out of the window. That's just giving money away. If you can have better solutions, right? You can get a separate credit card that gives you that 0% introductory fee that we talked about earlier, and transfer that balance, pay 3% to transfer it. That's the transfer fee. But then you don't have to pay anything in terms of interest on it for the next 18 or 20 billing cycles. And you have time to figure out a plan and slowly repay that. So paying interest on a balance that's outstanding on a credit card when it comes to those 20 or 24 or 25% APR, that's completely silly. So don't do that. Missing a payment is a huge deal as well. Don't miss any payments, because missing a payment, we just saw in that chart, 35% of what influences your credit score is your payment history. So if you miss a payment, that's a huge negative on your credit score, and that influences you for months and potentially years down the road, right? Another huge deal is don't get cash advances. Don't get cash from your credit card. Typically, that means a higher interest on whatever balance you may be carrying if you're getting cash. Or if you have that offer where you have 0% on purchases, that doesn't involve cash. So getting cash from a credit card is a huge no, huge no. And then finally, understand all the terms. Understand if you have an annual fee. And if you are getting a credit card that is requiring you to pay an annual fee, do the benefits, whether it's a welcome bonus or a cashback amounts, do they outweigh that annual fee? Same with those travel cards. Understand the terms, right? Does it make sense to have a card that's collecting hotel points that you're paying an annual fee on right now? Understand the APRs. Understand when exactly the high APRs kick in, and when you're going to have to pay interest on whatever balance you have accumulated in time. So look, there is no free lunch when it comes to credit cards. Ultimately, at some point, you have to pay off the balances that you accumulate on those credit cards. You have to pay off what you spend, right? But there are all these tips and strategies that you can use to stack the odds in your favor, gain time. It's really about stealing time, right? If you are in a position where suddenly, because of the coronavirus or other circumstances, you lost your job, or you're unemployment and these unemployment checks are getting smaller, and you have expenses that are impossible to reduce, that you have to pay for, there are strategies where you can use these credit cards to gain time, gain that 18-month period of no interest payments. And hopefully that gives you enough time to get back on your feet and repay these balances. So be smart about all of this. All right. Hopefully that's useful for you. Be smart about the money, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.